But I train regularly, and age is just just a number as far as I'm concerned.
That'll take off some love handles.
Yeah, that's for sure.
The Texas sky is still pitch black when an alarm whispers at 4:30 a.m. inside. A quiet ranch house that has stood for more than 50 years, 85-year-old Chuck Norris opens his eyes. He moves slowly, not because of age, but because of respect for the silence, for the woman sleeping next to him, and for a body that has carried him through battles both on-screen and off. He slips out of bed without waking Gina, his footsteps soft on the wooden floor that has memorized every move he has made for half a century. Outside, coyotes trade secrets on the far ridge, and a single star burns fiercely through the cedar-scented darkness. Most men his age would reach for slippers, a robe, and a cup of coffee. Chuck reaches for discipline. He flicks on a small lamp, enough to see the floor, but not enough to disturb the world. Then, without hesitation, he drops into push-up position. 50 slow, controlled push-ups, nose grazing the wooden boards, breath locked to heartbeat. No music, no mirror, no noise, only gravity and intent. Every rep is a reminder. The body ages, but the will does not have to. When he finishes, he kneels, bows his head, and offers a one-sentence prayer of gratitude, a ritual of humility before a day of strength. Then he walks into the kitchen. A chilled glass bowl sits inside the refrigerator, prepared the night before blueberries, so dark they are nearly black. To most people, they are just fruit, but to Chuck, they are armor. Anthocyanins to fight free radicals, vitamin C to stitch collagen, fiber to steady blood sugar. A microscopic army against inflammation and time. Some mornings he eats them plain, letting the cold sweetness wake his senses. Other mornings he blends them with artesian water drawn from an aquifer, 1,600 feet beneath his rancho water that the world now knows as Seaforce. But he never, ever skips them. And if you think blueberries alone fuel a legend, stay with me, because there are 4 more cornerstone foods and an entire constellation of habits, routines, and disciplines stacked on top like martial arts forms, each one supporting the next. Miss even one, and the whole structure wobbles. As the first hints of dawn paint the windows gold, he moves to the stove. Food number 2 begins to sizzle in a cast iron skillet seasoned from decades of use. Farm-fresh eggs from hens that roam freely across his land. Their yolks glow sunset orange, packed with choline for the brain, lutein for the eyes, and the amino acids needed to rebuild the tissue torn during yesterday's workout. Chuck cooks them low and slow in grass-fed ghee, sprinkles a pinch of pink Himalayan salt, and folds in wilted spinach. He eats standing because, in his world, stillness is reserved for meditation, not meals. The man has performed more fight scenes than most actors have lines, yet his joints remain agile and his cartilage intact. Food number 3 entered his life in 1998, the year he retired the Walker, Texas Ranger cowboy hat. A ranch hand introduced him to grass-fed bison leaner, then beef, but richer in creatine, zinc, and B vitamins. Chuck seasons a flank steak with smoked paprika, garlic, and cracked pepper, then grills it over mesquite wood until the edges char and the center stays ruby red. While the meat rests, he steps onto his porch and performs a 5-minute caudifluid blocks, snapping kicks, movements timed perfectly with breath. To an outsider, it may look like nostalgia, a nod to his martial arts past, but it's not. It's fascia conditioning. Those kicks pump synovial fluid through hips that should have seized years ago. The bison fuels muscle. The katas lubricate joints. Everything works together, a harmony designed to outsmart time. At midday, food number 4 appears. A towering bowl of greens clipped fresh from raised beds beside his horse stables. Kale, arugula, mustard leaf each forkful, flooding his bloodstream with magnesium to calm the nervous system, nitrates to increase blood flow, and vitamin A to sharpen vision. His dressing is always homemade, extra virgin olive oil, apple cider vinegar, minced garlic, and a squeeze of lemon from a tree he planted decades ago. No seed oils, no sugar, nothing processed, only fuel. By afternoon, most people his age are settling into recliners for a nap, not Chuck. He straps on weighted boots, steps onto the total gym he endorsed decades ago, and begins a 20-minute circuit incline pull-ups, reverse squats, seated rows, core pikes. The machine whispers, his breath roars. This isn't about building size, it's about preserving independence. Minutes later, he's outside again, throwing a 14-pound medicine ball against the barn wall. Twist, slam, catch. 40 reps each side. Rotational power keeps punches crisp and the spine youthful. A ranch hand, amused, uses an old stopwatch to time him. Chuck beats yesterday's time, even if only by a fraction of a second. Progress is progress. Food number 5, weights in a mason jar. Bone broth simmered overnight from grass-fed beef knuckles, onions, carrots, and a splash of apple cider vinegar to extract every drop of collagen. He sips it slowly, letting the gelatin coat his gut, the glycine calm his nerves, and the minerals refill electrolytes. Doctors call bone broth a longevity elixir. Chuck calls it cowboy coffee. Hydration threads through every hour. He drinks at least 3 liters of Sea-Force water daily, sometimes 5 in the blistering Texas heat. Naturally alkaline, silky with silica, it nourishes connective tissue from the inside out. His supplement list is surprisingly short. Vitamin D3 with K2 and a probiotic Gina insists he take everything else. He says, "I chew, drink, or breathe." Evenings are slow but never stagnant. At 6 p.m., he walks the perimeter fence with his German shepherds. This 2-mile loop doubles as moving meditation, flushing cortisol while sunset paints the sky in Navajo orange. Back home, he spends 10 minutes on a foam roller, 10 more hanging from a doorway bar to decompress his spine, then finishes with a deep squat hold that would challenge someone half his age. Longevity, he believes, is learned through load gradual, respectful, deliberate load. Dinner varies. Some nights it's wild-caught salmon from a neighbor's successful fishing trip. Other nights, lentil chili slow-cooked in a cast iron pot. Carbohydrates, a pure sweet potatoes roasted in rosemary, or a small scoop of brown rice butt, always paired with protein and healthy fats, to balance the insulin curve and prepare the body for deep sleep. Screens shut off at 8 instead. He opens a leather-bound journal and writes 3 lines, 1 gratitude, 1 lesson, 1 intention. Neuroscientists call this reconsolidation a way to rewire the mind for growth. Chuck simply calls it peace. By 8:30, he is in a cool, dark bedroom. A ceiling fan hums. A faint cedar scent drifts through the room. He falls asleep within minutes, aiming for 7.5 hours of high-quality rest. If he wakes groggy, he reviews the previous day with the precision of an athlete. Hydration, caffeine, training volume, stress, meals. Data drives discipline. There are also the things he avoids. No alcohol since 2001, when his twins were born. No processed sugar since 1993, after losing a friend to diabetes complications. Minimal seed oils, no smoking, and a strict limit on people who drain his spirit. Boundaries, he believes, are health force fields. Weekends look similar, but with more ranch work functional strength disguised as chores. Hauling hay bales, repairing fences, mucking stalls, fresh air, sunlight, and effort, the original human workout. And maybe you're thinking, great, but I don't live on a ranch. That doesn't matter. The principles scale. Swap blueberries for frozen ones. Pasture eggs for the best you can find. Bison for lean beef or turkey. Bone broth in a slow cooker. Walk a city block instead of a fence line. Foam roll in a studio apartment. The lifestyle adjusts, but the foundation remains. Anti-inflammatory foods, functional movement, strategic rest, and unbreakable consistency. In 2024, Chuck's doctor ran a full biomarker panel. Fasting insulin, low resting heart rate, below 50. Telomere length, closer to someone in his late 50s than mid-80s. When reporters asked for his secret, he gave a simple answer. Discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. And then, just to prove the point, he dropped into a plank and outheld an entire camera crew half his age. Tomorrow at sunrise, picture that wooden floor, those push-ups echoing softly through rural Texas. Then ask yourself, which path will you choose? The default path of decayer, the Norris protocol of deliberate daily renewal. Start with one habit, a handful of berries, a 5-minute walk. Lights out 30 minutes earlier. Simple, repeatable, relentless. Time will pass either way. The question is whether you ride it or let it drag you. Chuck made his choice.